Understandable English podcast.
Learn English the easy way.
I am currently typing this message with my elbows, Jessica, because my left palm is permanently attached to a piece of dried wood.
Good morning to you too, Brian. Why are your hands glued to wood? Did you attempt another home improvement project without reading the instructions?
It was not a home improvement project. It was an emergency career survival initiative. I spent 3 hours on YouTube last night learning medieval basket weaving as a backup job for when robots replace us.
Welcome back to the Understandable English podcast, everyone. Whether you are commuting to work, cooking dinner, or trying to unglue your fingers like Brian, we are so glad you are tuning in today.
Yes, welcome back. But seriously, Jessica, I had a total panic attack last night after reading 3 tech articles in a row. Everything is changing so fast. What will jobs look like in 10 years? We are going to be obsolete.
Brian, you are overreacting to tech news again. You read one article about automation and suddenly you decide that hand-woven baskets are the only safe global currency of the future?
Yes, because a robot cannot weave a traditional wooden basket with emotional soul. Or at least, that is what the video host said, right before I used industrial-strength superglue on the third piece of wood and accidentally bonded my palms together.
That is incredible. You prepared for a sci-fi dystopia, but you could not even survive 20 minutes of craft time in your own kitchen. You cannot even fix the office printer when it runs out of paper.
Hey, the office printer is a complex, malicious beast and everyone knows it. But can you blame me for worrying? Every week there is a new headline saying 50% of normal jobs will vanish by 2035. I am just trying to future-proof my life.
If anyone listening right now has ever panicked about the future of work or spent hours reading crazy articles online, please tell us in the comments. Leave a comment right now so Brian feels less isolated in his existential panic.
Yes, please leave a comment. I need emotional validation while I wait for this glue to dissolve. But Jessica, aren't you even a little bit worried about how fast work is changing?
Not really, because I went through this exact same panic when I was 19 years old. My very first job in high school was working at a local video rental store. I loved that job. I knew every movie shelf by heart. I gave recommendations to families, and I thought I would work there through my entire college years.
Oh, wow. A video rental store. That feels like ancient history now. What happened to the shop?
It completely vanished almost overnight. Streaming services arrived, people stopped renting physical tapes, and our manager walked in one Tuesday and told us the store was closing forever. I remember sitting in my car thinking, my skills are useless now. I am totally obsolete.
That must have been so scary at 19. How did you recover from that? That sounds like a complete career apocalypse to a teenager.
It felt like one for about a week. But then I realized something very important. The store disappeared, but my actual skills did not. I knew how to talk to customers, how to solve problems when people were upset, and how to organize a chaotic workspace. Those are soft skills, and they transfer to literally any job.
Soft skills. See, I always forget about those. I keep focusing on hard technical skills like knowing how to code or, weaving waterproof baskets out of willow trees.
Hard skills change every single decade, Brian. 30 years ago, knowing how to use a fax machine was a high-tech skill. Today, nobody cares. But being able to communicate clearly, adapt to changes, and work well with other humans never goes out of style.
That actually makes a lot of sense. So you don't think we will all be replaced by metal robots in 10 years?
No, I think jobs will just transform, like they always have throughout human history. The repetitive, boring parts of jobs will get automated, which gives humans more time to focus on creative thinking, emotional connections, and complex decision-making.
So what you're saying is I don't need to quit my job and live in the woods making baskets?
Precisely. You just need to focus on being adaptable. When people fight technological change, they get stressed out and stuck. When people accept change and learn new tools, they thrive.
I guess I have this illusion of safe jobs in my head. I always thought that if you pick a standard career and stay in your lane, you are safe forever. But maybe safe jobs never really existed in the first place.
They really didn't. Safety doesn't come from having a job that never changes. True safety comes from knowing that whatever happens, you can learn new things and adjust your routine. Confidence comes from your ability to adapt, not from standing still.
That is a deep observation, Jessica. It takes away a lot of that heavy, invisible stress. I spent the whole night imagining this apocalyptic future where I had to trade baskets for cans of soup at the local market.
You always jump straight to the worst-case scenario. You read one headline and suddenly you are building a bunker in your living room.
It is my creative brain. It sees a small problem and turns it into a blockbuster movie. I drink 2 cups of coffee, open social media, and suddenly the sky is falling.
If this sounds like you, leave a like on this video right now. If you have ever overreacted to a small problem or spent hours overthinking something simple, hitting that like button helps us know you are out there listening.
Yes, please hit that like button. It helps our channel grow so much, and it gives Brian a break from his doom-scrolling habits.
You know, thinking about the future of work also reminds me of language learning. So many people worry that translation apps will make learning English useless in 10 years.
Oh, I hear that argument all the time. But typing into a translation screen isn't the same as actually connecting with a real human being. Language isn't just about converting words. It is about tone, humor, empathy, and personal relationships.
Exactly. A translation app can translate the words, but it cannot share a genuine laugh, understand subtle sarcasm, or build deep trust during a business meeting or a casual coffee chat.
Right. Learning a language builds your adaptability and soft skills more than almost anything else. It trains your brain to think flexibly and see the world from different perspectives.
Which is why all our listeners are already building the ultimate future-proof skill right now just by listening to this podcast.
Look at us, making people future-proof while talking about superglue and video stores. That is what I call high-value content.
It really is. Well, speaking of high-value content, this feels like a very natural bridge to move into our vocabulary tour for today's episode.
Let's do it. We used some brilliant, everyday spoken expressions today that native speakers use all the time when talking about life, stress, and work.
I will kick things off with our very first expression, run into a problem.
To run into a problem means to encounter an unexpected difficulty or challenge while you are in the middle of doing an activity. For example, we were trying to finish the presentation on time, but we ran into a problem with the office internet.
That is a staple phrase for work life. Our second expression today is keep in mind.
To keep in mind means to remember or consider a useful piece of information while you are making plans or taking action. For example, when you plan your trip to the mountains, keep in mind that the weather can change very quickly.
Our third phrase is it turns out that.
We use it turns out that to introduce a surprising fact or unexpected result after a situation develops. For example, I was worried about the interview, but it turns out that the manager was super friendly and relaxed.
The fourth phrase on our list today is have trouble with something.
To have trouble with something means to experience difficulty, struggle, or frustration while trying to complete a specific task. For example, my grandfather always has trouble with modern smartphone screens because the text is too small.
Our fifth phrase for today is get used to something.
To get used to something means to gradually become comfortable or familiar with a new situation, environment, or routine over time. For example, it took me 3 months to get used to waking up early for my morning shift at the bakery.
And our sixth beautiful expression today is make sense in context.
To make sense in context means that an idea, statement, or action becomes logical and clear when you look at the surrounding situation or environment. For example, her reaction might seem strange at first, but it makes sense in context when you realize how tired she was.
Those 6 phrases are so practical. You will hear them in movies, podcasts, workplace chats, and everyday casual conversations with native speakers.
If you want to practice them right now and lock them into your memory, write an original sentence using one of today's phrases in the comments below. Tell us about a time you had trouble with something or something you had to get used to recently.
We read every single comment, and seeing your brilliant practice sentences absolutely makes our day. It is the best way to turn passive listening into active language growth.
Well, Jessica, I think the industrial glue is finally starting to wear off my hands, which means I can actually hold a coffee cup again.
That is wonderful news, Brian. Maybe now you can put the wooden sticks away and enjoy a calm afternoon without any craft accidents.
I promise no more basket weaving for at least a week. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Understandable English Podcast, everyone. We truly love sharing this time with you.
Have a wonderful, peaceful, and adaptable week, everyone. Take care, don't worry too much about 10 years from now, and we will see you in the next episode.
Goodbye, everyone. Stay safe and keep practicing.
Bye. See you next time.
Yesterday I had trouble with my glue, but I tried to keep in mind your adaptability advice, so I didn't run into a problem, and it turns out that I can get used to future jobs because your video store story totally made sense in context.
That was a chaotic recap, Brian. Have a great week, everyone.